Little girl runs to police crying, "Please follow me home." What they found left everyone in tears. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon in the sleepy town of Maplewood, the kind of day where the sun lazily stretched across front lawns, birds chirped from oak branches, and neighbors waved from porches with iced tea in hand. Nothing seemed out of place until a small figure came sprinting down Main Street, barefoot, tears streaming down her cheeks, her chest heaving with every ragged breath. She was no more than 7 years old, tiny, trembling, wearing a faded pink t-shirt and mismatched socks. Her dark curls were tangled, her eyes wide with terror, and she was running, not toward a playground or an ice cream truck, but straight toward the local police station. Two officers, Sergeant Dan Reeves and Officer Lisa Morales, were just finishing paperwork when the little girl burst through the door, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please follow me home," she cried, her voice breaking. "My mommy, she won't wake up." The officers froze. Lisa dropped her pen. Dan stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the tile. "Sweetheart, slow down," Lisa said gently, kneeling to the girl's level. "What's your name?" "Emily," she hiccuped, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "Emily Carter. Please, you have to come now. I tried to call 911, but I don't know how. I shook her and yelled, but she won't open her eyes." Dan didn't hesitate. "Show us the way." They followed Emily out the door, sprinting behind her small, frantic frame as she led them down Elm Street, past the bakery, past Mrs. Henderson's rose garden, until they reached a modest, slightly weathered house with peeling blue paint and an overgrown lawn. The front door was unlocked. Emily pushed it open and ran inside, the officers close behind. What they saw next shattered them. In the dimly lit living room, slumped on a worn-out couch, lay a woman in her early 30s, pale, unmoving, a half-empty water bottle on the floor beside her, a blanket tangled around her legs. Her breathing was shallow, barely there. "Mommy!" Emily screamed, rushing to her side, grabbing her limp hand. "I brought help! I brought the police!" Lisa immediately radioed for an ambulance, while Dan checked the woman's pulse. It was faint, thready, and weak. "She's alive," Dan said, voice tight, but barely. He began CPR as Lisa comforted Emily, who was now sobbing into her knees, rocking back and forth. "She's been sick," Emily whispered. "She said it was just a cold, but she got worse. Yesterday she couldn't get out of bed. I made her soup. I read to her, but this morning she wouldn't wake up." Lisa's eyes welled up. "Did you sleep here alone last night, sweetheart?" Emily nodded. "I held her hand. I told her stories. I didn't want her to be scared." The words hit Lisa like a hammer. A 7-year-old, alone, terrified, doing everything she could to keep her mother alive. The paramedics arrived within minutes. They took over CPR, administered oxygen, and rushed the woman, Sarah Carter, to Maplewood General. Emily clung to Lisa's hand as they followed in the squad car. "I need to go with her," Emily pleaded. "She needs me." "You're her hero," Lisa whispered, squeezing her hand, "and we're not letting you go anywhere without her." At the hospital, chaos turned to quiet dread. Doctors worked frantically behind closed ER doors. Nurses moved with urgency. Emily sat curled in a plastic chair, still barefoot, clutching a stuffed rabbit she'd grabbed from the couch, her mother's old childhood toy. Lisa sat beside her, wrapping a warm blanket around her tiny shoulders. "Did I do okay?" Emily whispered, eyes red and swollen. "Did I get help in time?" Lisa swallowed hard. "You did everything right, sweetheart. You saved her life." Hours passed. The sun dipped below the horizon. The waiting room emptied. Still, Emily didn't sleep. She stared at the double doors, waiting, praying. Then a doctor emerged. Officer Dan stood immediately. Lisa held Emily's hand tighter. "Sarah Carter?" the doctor asked. Emily nodded frantically. "She's stable," the doctor said, and the room seemed to exhale. "She's in a medically induced coma for now, but her vitals have improved. She was severely dehydrated and suffering from late-stage pneumonia. If she hadn't been brought in when we might not have been able to save her." Emily burst into fresh tears, this time tears of relief. "She's going to be okay?" she asked, voice trembling. "We're hopeful," the doctor said gently. "Thanks to you." Over the next few days, the story of Emily Carter spread like wildfire. Local news picked it up, then regional, then national. Brave 7-year-old saves mother's life after running to police station alone. Videos of Emily, small, determined, heartbreakingly brave, went viral. Donations poured in. Meals were delivered to the hospital. Strangers sent cards, stuffed animals, even children's books with notes. "You're our hero, Emily." But Emily didn't care about the fame. She only cared about one thing. Every day after school, she'd race to the hospital, backpack bouncing, homework clutched in one hand, drawings for her mom in the other. She'd climb onto the hospital bed, curl beside her mother's still form, and whisper stories into her ear. "Mommy, today I learned about butterflies. Did you know they taste with their feet? I drew you one. It's purple, your favorite." She'd hold her mother's hand, brush her hair, sing lullabies, and then on the fifth day, a miracle. Sarah Carter opened her eyes, weak, confused, but alive, and the first thing she saw, her daughter's face, tear-streaked, smiling, radiant with joy. "Mommy!" Emily cried, throwing her arms around her, gently, so gently. "You're awake! You're here!" Sarah's voice was a whisper. "Emily, my brave girl, what happened?" Emily told her everything, how she ran, how she begged, how the police came, how she never left her side. Sarah wept. "I'm so sorry, baby," she whispered. "I didn't want you to be scared. I thought I could fight it alone." Emily shook her head. "You don't have to be alone, Mommy. Ever. I'm here. Always." The officers who responded, Dan and Lisa, visited often. They brought coffee for the nurses, toys for Emily, and on Sarah's first day sitting up in bed, they brought balloons. "You have the bravest daughter in the world," Lisa told Sarah, voice thick with emotion. Sarah looked at Emily, now coloring quietly at the foot of the bed, and smiled through tears. "I know. She's my angel." Dan cleared his throat. "You know, Emily didn't just save you. She reminded all of us what courage really looks like." He paused. Most adults wouldn't have known what to do. "But she ran, she screamed, she refused to give up." Lisa nodded. "That's the thing about kids. They don't overthink. They just love fiercely, completely." Weeks later, Sarah was discharged, weak but recovering. Emily skipped beside her, holding her hand tightly, chattering about school, about her teacher, about the ice cream party they were going to have at home. The town threw them a welcome-back barbecue. Neighbors they'd never spoken to brought casseroles, flowers, gift cards. The local grocer donated a month's worth of groceries. A GoFundMe raised enough to cover Sarah's medical bills, and then some. But the most touching moment? When Officer Lisa knelt down in front of Emily at the party, holding a small velvet box. "Emily Carter," she said, smiling, "for your bravery, your courage, and your incredible love, the Maplewood Police Department would like to award you the Citizens Medal of Valor." She opened the box. Inside was a small silver medal on a blue ribbon. Emily's eyes widened. "For me, for you," Lisa said. "You're the youngest recipient in our town's history." Emily threw her arms around Lisa's neck. "Thank you for saving my mommy." Lisa hugged her back, tears in her eyes. "No, sweetheart. Thank you for reminding us why we wear the badge." Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal, or as normal as it could be after such a scare. Sarah got a part-time job at the local library. Emily started second grade, where she was lovingly nicknamed the Brave Bunny by her classmates. They still have movie nights every Friday, still eat pancakes for dinner sometimes, still laugh until milk comes out their noses. But things are different now. Sarah doesn't hide when she's sick. She goes to the doctor. She asks for help. Emily doesn't feel like she has to be the grown-up. She gets to be a kid, climbing trees, chasing fireflies, building blanket forts. And every Sunday they visit the police station, not because they're in trouble, but because they bring cookies, because they hug Dan and Lisa, because they say thank you over and over and over. This story isn't just about a little girl who ran to the police. It's about love that refuses to let go. It's about courage that doesn't need a uniform. It's about a child who in her darkest hour became the light that saved her mother's life. It's about community, strangers who became family. It's about officers who didn't just do their job, they became heroes in a little girl's eyes. And it's a reminder to all of us that sometimes the smallest voices cry the loudest and the bravest hearts beat in the tiniest chests. Emily Carter didn't just save her mother, she saved us all from forgetting what really matters. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's spread stories of hope, courage, and the incredible power of a child's love. Drop a comment below. What would you do if you were Emily? Let's honor her bravery together. And if you're going through something, don't wait. Ask for help. You're not alone. Someone is waiting to follow you home. Thanks for watching.